Hi folks, welcome to week 3 of our course. We are marching dramatically through the early modern period and we're going to be emerging up into the context of the modern world and eventually looking at the predecessors for our contemporary world in the big sweep of this class. We'll be highlighting these changes by generation and of course with an environmental approach as we move forward. Last time when we closed off, we looked at the question of who leads riot and who leads rebellion. I asked you to consider several cases of resistance against European expansion and European colonialism over the course of the 18th and the 19th centuries. Now, these contestations, of course, would have environmental impacts, especially when European powers such as the expanding French Empire or the expanding British Empire would use their militaries to put down these riots and rebellions in a very brutally violent fashion, killing millions, for example, in the process of putting down the Great Rebellion in northern India. Now, local officials and local powers also participated in this violence, of course, but it's really at the behest of the British. And there's an estimated up to something like 10 million civilians who die in the process of British Empire asserting control after the Great Rebellion. So we're talking really like genocidal levels of violence here, not to mention the impact of disease. Additionally, the spread of various types of flora and fauna and those environmental impacts. So think about the sort of overall scope of the environmental impact of European colonialism and responses to it during the Age of Revolution, as it were. Now, the Age of Revolution is a term that historians use to refer to, generally speaking, the 19th century. It comes from the title of a book by Eric Hobsbawm, which was first published in 1962, and it's the first of a trilogy of books about the long 19th century. It's followed by The Age of Capital and The Age of Empire. There's also a fourth book that's about more contemporary history called The Age of Extremes. Now, Hobsbawm analyzed the early 19th century and indeed the whole process of modernization thereafter using what he calls the twin revolution thesis. This thesis recognized the dual importance of the French Revolution and the Industrial Revolution as sort of midwives of modern European history, birthing modern Europe, as it were, through the connections of colonialism and imperialism to world history. The Age of Revolution has been expanded in its definition and decentralized a bit. The Age of Revolution is a period that historians now view from approximately 1774 to 1849, in which there are many significant revolutionary movements across the world, especially in Europe and the Americas, but in Asia and Africa as well. The period is noted for the change in government from monarchies to gradual constitutionalist states and republics. Although there are several variations on the theme here, you might find caliphates, various forms of Asian empires that are a bit more secular or millenarian or religious, various kingdoms that rise up and fall. The Age of Revolution includes the American Revolution, of course, everybody's favorite riot at the docks, the French Revolution, the Irish Rebellion of 1798, also very importantly, the Haitian Revolution, which started as a revolt of enslaved peoples on the island of Haiti, and the First Italian War of Independence, the Sicilian Revolution of 1848, and the 1848 revolutions across Europe, and the Portuguese colonies in Latin America, the independence of Spanish colonies of Latin America as well in the 19th century. In a way, it also includes the Industrial Revolution, but I would expand this even further to state that the Tay Son Rebellion, which is a rebellion in the 18th century in Vietnam, which actually leads to the establishment of the Nguyen Empire. It's not a successful rebellion. The Tay Son house rises up claiming to be the rightful rulers of what is now sort of central Vietnam. And then in responding to their uprising, the House of Nguyen establishes a kingdom and then becomes the Nguyen Empire and is the predecessor state for French Indochina. So it's very important in terms of establishing state consolidation. There's also a Taiping Rebellion, which is a millenarian revolt in southern China and central China and what is called China proper. And this Taiping Rebellion is a sort of local Chinese religion where you have a group of individuals claiming to be the bringers of a new age, and it's the repression of that rebellion that leads to the establishment of the Qing Empire in its modern state form, which is the predecessor state for the Republic of China and what becomes the People's Republic of China as well. So these are very important rebellions. Just broadening this out a little bit, you could think about the expansion initially of Usman Dan Fodio and the Fulani Jihad as an initial revolution against previous Fulani and Hausa rulers and state consolidation there as part of this age of revolution. So you're looking very dramatically at the expansion of this term of the age of revolution as a transformative period in world history, preceding and also being coupled with the expansion of European colonialism, the sort of harbinger of the modern era, this age of revolution, which includes, importantly, the establishment of Haiti as an independent Creole and black-ruled republic, right, as part of this throughout the process of the 18th and 19th century. Now, in closing here, I just want to have you look at a painting. For your post, just have a gander at this painting. Note what jumps out to you about the painting. What do you think is going on? Go ahead and form a collaborative discussion, and I'll make some notes afterwards. More soon.